TSM really wanted to get that #1 seed. That's what BJERGSEN talks about. He wants to be dominant. He needs to be on a dominant team as far as almost what his happiness is concerned, and they're in a position to do that after their performance this week.
Yep, certainly looking good. We'll take one more look at that Big Baron fight, because that was really the turning point. I mean, a very difficult to manage fight. Yes, TSM were in a position where they were ahead enough to do this, but most teams would not opt into this.
Yeah, exactly, and even TSM had tried to play like this before, which they then backed off of because they couldn't get a clean enough fight. But the absolute CC lock onto AKAADIAN there, if he can't dodge the arrow in the first place, followed by this. Notice the Orianna ball zoning them out. Gate goes in, but FROGGEN actually goes immediately out, and Looper already has his ultimate down. So never did Echo Fox really get their AoE onto the squishy people, and FROGGEN just couldn't get through that zone once he walked away from the fight. That leads to the rest of this fight where TSM can just use their move speed to chase Keith down and complete the ace.
Instant polymorph up from BIOFROST. Like TSM, this is a team that can execute high-level stuff. I mean, again, in an advantage position versus a team like Echo Fox, we're not gonna, you know, it's not a huge play, but it is good to see these sorts of things. High risk, high reward, and they're rewarded. Exactly.
This was a team that was first place in the standings against a team that comes in 8th place in the standings, so it's not too surprising that it was a 2-0, but TSM wanted to make this clean, and they did.
Certainly looking good, but for more on that TSM 2-0, let's send it over to Freak and Mark Z.
Thank you very much, Pacer Time. Great cast today. To you as well, chat. Let's talk about the fact that, hey, we got 2-0 win for TSM. They do tend to win game ones more often than not, but still, it was like a 55% win rate in game one, and they closed one.
Yeah, compared to their average game win rate, and then the game one win rate much lower, but they were really dominant in game one. Game two is more or less the same thing, though it took a little bit longer to get online, obviously. But overall, I like the Lulu Rengar. I like what I saw of the draft. I like the Gragas play as well out of HAUNTZER. I think Gragas is a champion that is going to slowly keep coming back more and more because of the flexibility to put it in the jungle position. And then I think it benefits teams who are well coordinated more. Like some picks like Maokai, like, oh, everyone is great with Maokai. Whereas Gragas is like, if you actually coordinate it well with your team and play team fights well, you'll see more return on a Gragas pick.
Yeah, and I think that it's been nice that there is two sort of body slamming champions to deliver Orianna balls onto. Gragas and Rengar both. Basically point and click on somebody. He's like, all right, shock with this guy. He's CC for a little bit. And that's clearly worked out. I wanted to give a lot of props specifically to the fact that it felt like SVENSKEREN heavily outperformed AKAADIAN. AKAADIAN seemed to be like the one player that could keep Echo Fox in games overall, and he got really blasted in the jungle matchup.
I think it's a case where we saw at the beginning of the year, AKAADIAN's like this god-tier player who was carrying Echo Fox essentially through the early games and getting them enough leads that they could win. Here, this is some replays from game one where you see that if he gets controlled, Echo Fox really, really struggles. So they see him go with that hawk shot initially. Here they see him creeping in the bush. BJERGSEN playing really heavily down to the bot side here, able to dodge out the charm, and then he's safe. So overall, you see that it's very hard for them to get anything going. And then once again in game two, he's spotted out really early on. SVENSKEREN runs into him. He still tries to make this play, almost gets it, but gets traded back. And this is after we saw AKAADIAN go to the top side as well, trying to punish HAUNTZER with no flash. Sven countered that one out as well. So for most of the game, it was a lot of Sven following around AKAADIAN and punishing him and stopping him from making plays. And as long as you do that, it does feel like Echo Fox loses games.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And right here, you can just see, everyone's kind of walking over them. Sven gives away one kill here to FROGGEN, but doesn't really matter at this point. And then also I want to kind of malign Keith for really making silly plays, right? You were talking about how like maybe he wants to walk in and give someone a heal to keep the guy alive, and then just face tanks a bunch of skill shots and dies for free. And it's kind of an issue. And this is a game where actually Looper did manage to get a lot of damage on the Rumble, but generally speaking, I was not very impressed with his play. I felt like there were some very poorly aimed equalizers, and it feels like an Echo Fox team that is very fractured. You've got a lot of players heavily underperforming, or just at least getting beat by their opposite member.
It feels a lot like they want to pick a lot of counter matchups and strong laners and hope AKAADIAN snowballs them and they can win from there. And then when that doesn't happen, they just lose. So, Rumble, obviously extremely strong teamfight champion, but one of the best laners in the game right now as well. So like, all right, get him in a tank matchup. Hopefully Looper can win that, and then AKAADIAN can snowball. And we saw the early visit up to the top side, gets countered out, doesn't work. You have the Orianna versus Ahri matchup, still Ahri favored. And they hope we can snowball there. And it just feels like those never quite work out for them. And then once AKAADIAN doesn't get someone a lead early on, the Echo Fox's shot calling and skirmishing does not match TSM's.
Definitely doesn't. You got to give props to TSM for managing to outplay difficult lanes and do very well. And speaking of playing very well, HAUNTZER, going to give player of the game to him. Big plays on the Gragas, great explosive casts overall. Most damage, most kills in the team. Honestly, some great stuff there by him. I think a well-deserved individual praise. I thought kind of all of TSM we could give it. It felt like an easier matchup that took care of business. HAUNTZER getting the nod, though.